In August 2015, Yamaha introduced the YXZ1000R to the media, their dealers, and a live worldwide audience. Now in its second year of production, Yamaha is offering 4 different versions of the YXZ. First, there's the original YXZ1000R, a unique addition to the side-by-side market with its manual clutch, 5-speed transmission, and screaming top-end focused 998cc triple-cylinder engine. 1 year later, Yamaha released the 2017 YXZ1000R Sport Shift. While it shares the same engine and transmission with the original YXZ, the Sport Shift features paddle shifters and a computer-controlled auto clutch, allowing you to work the gearbox without removing a hand from the steering wheel or worrying about regulating the clutch. If you bog the engine too much, Sport Shift downshifts automatically to protect the clutch. To help conquer tough obstacles at slow speed, Sport Shift features dynamic clutch engagement in first gear. It allows the engine to rev up quickly before dumping the clutch to create a burst of power for takeoffs on hillsides or to clear large rocks and logs. Sitting still, launch control allows you to rev the engine and dump the clutch for drag racing or hill shooting. Yamaha is offering special edition versions of both the standard and Sport Shift models. Visually, they stand apart with their matte black painted bodywork, embroidered seats, and true beadlock wheels. The SE models received forged aluminum rear knuckles, reducing the amount of unsprung weight by 4.4 pounds per side. Less unsprung weight results in better suspension action. While suspension travel numbers remain the same on the 64-inch wide car, with 16.2 inches front and 17 inches rear. The biggest upgrade to the Special Edition are its Fox 2.5 Podium X2 shocks.
Hi, this is Rick Strobel from Fox Shox. First, I wanted to go over a couple of the features that we have on our current RC2 platform to kind of give you what it was to what it's going to with the X2 platform. Firstly, is when you got on RC2, you only have one compression adjuster, high and low speed, and you would have a rebound adjuster down here. Going to the X2 platform becomes more technology, more in depth on how you adjust your shock. Going to that, X2. X2 means 2 high and low speed adjusters, compression, rebound. Going past the wide range of adjustment, we have another cool technology that's built into the shock is the internal bypass side of it. The cool thing about the internal bypass is you can have a really plush ride and still have that no bottoming feel at all. You can just hit the big stuff and keep on going. So starting at the compression and rebound adjusters, showing them the nice big flow that we have going into the shock. Again, big flow means big range of adjustment. So that's nice when you want to go and make some big changes on your settings to get the good comfort and the good bottom resistance. Going to the internal bypass side of it, from the compression and rebound adjuster is you can see the inner body that we have here. We have 3 zones on this body. Again, this is what the comfort side of it is when this shaft and the compression stroke goes up, it goes past these zones. These shims flex out of the way, allow oil to bypass. That's what gives you your comfort. Now you're thinking, well, you got all this comfort, what about the bottom resistance? Not a problem. Once it goes past these 3 zones, it goes into a body that's now only being used from the main piston valving. So that's what gives you your good bottom resistance. Again, kind of going back over that is when the shock is compressed, the oil's flowing through, bypassing, going up through your compression adjuster. Now when you go back on your rebound stroke, it pulls the oil back down through the rebound stroke into here, coming past these zones, which no longer working because we have them checked here, and down to the body of the internal side of it to give us the good rebound control for top out noise and stuff like that. The other side of this shock is once you get past the shock itself, you have the springs. You have a dual rate spring that comes on the YXZ. You have your spring preload, that would be a collar right here, and you have your crossover rings that are 2 rings that are pinched together. These are all fully adjustable from the preload to the crossover side, so that can allow you to give more ride height, less ride height with the preload. The crossover will allow you to help for bottom resistance or give you more comfort with that. Again, they are both totally adjustable and are on all the YXZ Special Edition models, dual rate front and rear springs.
Along with the guys from Fox Shox, Yamaha provided members of the media the chance to drive the YXZ1000R and Sport Shift Special Edition models at the Sand Hollow State Park, located in St. George, Utah. Sand Hollow provides whooped out desert style trails, sand dunes, plus high and low speed rock sections. Throughout the day, we tried 4 different tuning settings with the Fox X2 shocks. The first was the stock setting, to get a feeling for the way they perform off the showroom floor. The stock settings are similar to what we've come to expect from the YXZ. The shocks offer a good balance between bottoming resistance and small bump compliance, while doing a good job of keeping body roll in check. Next, the X2 shocks were tuned to provide a higher level of comfort. The rear shocks crossover was switched from 4 1/4 to 3 7/8 inches, keeping the load on the softer tender spring longer for a slightly softer ride and less progression throughout the stroke. We left the Sport Shift press event at the Big Buck GNCC racecourse, feeling that the YXZ could be made plush enough for long distance driving, but didn't quite offer the same level of small bump compliance as the Polaris RZR XP1000. With the X2's tuned for comfort, and enjoying a more progressive damping curve provided by the shock's internal bypass ports, the Special Edition YXZ really makes small bumps disappear. Traversing rocky sections at various speeds, small bump compliance seemed notably better with the X2 shocks, and the shocks retained good bottoming resistance as long as you didn't hold the throttle wide open on gnarly G-outs. Of the different settings we tried, this was our favorite for typical everyday driving, where speeds and terrain often vary. The third shock setup we tried maintained the same damping settings, tuned for comfort. However, spring preload was reduced to its minimum setting to further soften the ride. The rear crossovers remained in their softer, less progressive setting of 3 7/8 inches. Running higher tire pressure to prevent pinch flats and punctures in the rocks, in conjunction with softer spring preload, results in the rear tires hopping more under acceleration in sand, impacting ride quality and traction. Lowering tire pressure would help cure this, while increasing the likelihood of getting a flat in the rocks. We'd recommend switching to a tire like GBC's Canadi Mongrel for varying dry conditions. They put more rubber on the ground in the rocks and offer better flotation in sand, producing less bounce, even at higher pressures. The softer preload settings resulted in even greater comfort, traversing small bumps in rocky sections of the trail. The suspension bottomed a little easier in G-outs and framed out more easily on rock ledges. Body roll was still pretty reasonable. We think this could be a great suspension setup for cruising the more clay-based, root-infested trails found back east, where the YXZ's purpose-built Maxxis tires really shine. The last setting was tuned for aggressive driving. Out back, high and low speed rebound were slowed significantly at just 1/2 turnout each. Not a surprise, considering the YXZ has a tendency to kick in the whoops. The rear shock's crossover was left at the 3 7/8 inch mark, again a little softer and less progressive than stock. Spring preload was left stock at all 4 corners. Compared to the shocks being tuned for comfort, the ride is dramatically different. This setup sacrifices some comfort over smaller bumps, but allows you to hold a line with greater precision while pushing the limits on rough, high-speed trails. G-outs could be attacked with relative abandon, with no hint of bottoming the shocks. Stability is excellent, both in turns and on side hills. As the day wore on and the whoops grew deeper on our test loop, the rear end started kicking a bit, but perhaps a bit less than we've noticed when testing other YXZs out west. The car never started deflecting offline or doing anything scary. We just had to work the throttle to carry maximum speed through deep whoops. Perhaps adding a little more preload to the rear shocks, a firmer crossover setting, or adding a little more low-speed compression damping would help. Fox's X2 shocks provide a wider range of usable adjustment than we could fully explore in one day of testing. Our love for the new Sport Shift system has been affirmed after driving both the manual and Sport Shift systems back-to-back in the diverse terrain of Sand Hollow. While it doesn't quite deliver the same level of control for the experienced driver, Sport Shift lets drivers of all skill levels relax more, which we appreciated more the longer we were in the driver's seat. With Sport Shift, we never stalled the car, and its dynamic clutch engagement let us crawl up some pretty steep rock faces at a rather slow pace. Yamaha keeps adding features to the YXZ that we can't seem to justify living without. The Special Edition YXZs will set you back $1,600 more with manual shift and $1,800 more with Sport Shift. The addition of beadlock wheels and Fox Podium X2 shocks come at a modest price compared to adding these items from the aftermarket. If you are willing to take a little time setting up your car, Fox Podium X2 shocks improve the YXZ1000R suspension performance somewhat for aggressive drivers, and more dramatically for long-distance trail riders, where comfort is as important as handling and bottoming resistance. In our opinion, the Special Edition YXZ1000R's added features are well worth its added price. Make sure to visit our channel or check out our UTV test playlist for our other tests of the Yamaha YXZ1000R and other top UTV models. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our newest UTV tests and other related content. For more information on the 2017 Yamaha YXZ1000R Special Edition models, or their full line of side-by-sides and ATVs, log on to YamahaMotorsports.com.